and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London. And you can find me on Ravelry as a designer as Skeindeer Knits, or as a user as Skeindeer, and you can find me on Instagram as Skeindeer. But in terms of contact, I want to recommend the Ravelry group Skeindeer Knits, where we all discuss all things podcast related, knitting, colour work, and stranded Norwegian things and stuff that's to do with knitting. Welcome to this podcast. Now, whether you are a new or returning viewer, of course you are welcome to be on board, either again or for the first time. I would just like to preface this video by saying this is a rather unusual one. If the title isn't telling you enough, this is going to be primarily about Edinburgh Yarn Festival, so it's not going to follow the usual format. I will be teasing you a little bit about the stuff that I have been working on, but the primary focus of this episode will be Edinburgh and the stuff that I bought and the things that I did and the people that I met. So if that's not for you, stay tuned for the next episode. However, if this is something you're looking for, you have looked up this video because you wanted to see an Edinburgh Yarn Festival video. This is by no means an official video. It's not a comprehensive video. It's not a big overview. It is my perspective, Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It's seen from my point of view, recorded with my camera when I decided to pick it up, and yeah, it's just kind of taking you on board with a snapshot of my experience at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. So I just wanted you to know that before we go in. Before getting into all the Edinburgh meat, I do want to cover the basics that I always start my episode with. First of all, thank you so much everyone for receiving my Blowfield sweater so well. I can't remember if it was the last video that I launched it or the last video, the video before that, but thank you so much. I can't believe how well received it's been, with the trending on Ravelry and all the people knitting it, and the fact that we're doing a knit along for it. So that's really exciting. I haven't really decided much of an ending date yet, so it's pretty safe to jump on board. I reckon about 3 months, like we could end it mid-summer or something, when people are fed up with knitting garments anyway. Not that I ever am, but some people are. And the other knit alongs I'm running is the Marius knit along, which will be ending very soon. At the end of the month we will no longer be knitting Marius knit sweaters together. I'm a bit sad that I didn't join in on this time around, although I made probably 5 Marius sweaters in my lifetime, so you know I'm all covered there. And the other knit along I am running is the year-long knit along of 2018, where we are knitting 6 pairs of colourwork mittens for the duration of this year. They have to be finished by the end of the year and had to be started at the beginning of this year. More on that in the Ravelry group. And I did wrap up the Break the Rules card for February last episode and said I was going to cover the prices and stuff in the coming episode, completely neglecting to consider that this episode is just going to be too full to do that here, so I hope to do that in the next episode. Now, I do have some finished objects to share with you before we get into stuff. I have taken kind of a week off for Edinburgh because of, you know, all the travels and stuff. It ended up kind of being 2 weeks because of the scheduling of this podcast and the travel and all that stuff. But I did finish my Threipmuir knits, which is a future upcoming design publication of mine. I will put this up on Ravelry once I have finished up writing it, gotten test knitter feedback, and yeah, it's pretty soon good to go. I just need to weave in the ends and get some good photos of these, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about it very briefly. There'll be more on this in the next episode, when I've actually woven in the ends and will hopefully announce the publication. I used always etc. yarn. I believe it's called Quadruple Dutch, where she uses 4 different breeds of Dutch yarn. So there's like merino and alpaca and Shetland, and there's like Dutch breed of sheep in this. It's lovely. I'm surprised at how soft this is, and still I find it very colour work friendly. It's truly special in that regard. So if you have issues with, you know, prickliness of rustic yarn, then definitely check out this yarn because it's fab. And I used the Yggdrasil kit that she made, she being Saskia, who has Ovis etc. yarn. And so if you get the Yggdrasil kit, you can choose to make the Yggdrasil mitts, which is also a design of mine, or you can make these. It just dawned on me that I actually have the Yggdrasil mitts here, so you know, for comparison you could make either if you buy this kit. As you'll see, there was some yarn left when I made these, so you are safe there. I was a bit worried that I'd be using too much of the yellow, but that's not been the case, because the yellow is quite small, because it's obviously meant to just be these orange bits here, which isn't that much. So you will be very safe there. Unfortunately, it's not enough yarn to make the Yggdrasil mitts after these. You'd have to have about twice as much as what I have left of this. So, but still, that's you have now this kit that you could do 2 designs of mine with, and they're both eligible for the year long knit along, so there's that. I do have some other finished objects as well, but I'm not going to show you that more than just this. It's a little teaser. It's a little teaser. What is this? Am I coming up with more designs? Yes, I am working up a sock collection. It's going to be a kind of a DK to sport weight sock collection. I want to give people basically a collection of simple, quick and easy colorwork socks to get started knitting colorwork socks, and these are it. I will be talking more about that in the next episode. I just thought I'd show you. I've been working on something very exciting. I've been working on this since Christmas, but it's done. So it's my little teasy here. Just saying. And they have some fitting in traditions, they have some fitting in the new and the modern, all that stuff that I really like. So we'll be talking about that more later. One thing I haven't really touched on thus far is my voice. It's going to be like this throughout. It's probably going to be worse. It's been really bad during Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I noticed a couple of days before heading up to Edinburgh that I was feeling rather unwell. So I'm tingling in my throat. I'm like, damn it, those tonsils again. They're not going to ruin my week. And they didn't ruin my week. But if they just hadn't caused havoc, it probably would have been a tad bit better. Oh well, what can you do? Well, I could saw out these tonsils and just like throw them in the river and be done with them, but yeah, no, they have to go. My voice is a mess. So we're about this close to getting into the Edinburgh meet, but I want to talk to you about the projects I worked on whilst in Edinburgh, because I brought some projects that I figured would be Edinburgh appropriate, you know, with people around and all that stuff. By the way, I'm wearing my Improv Sweater. It's by Karen Templer of the Fringe Supply company. It's really easy and straightforward, and you can just fit a raglan, top-down raglan to your needs, and any yarn and anything, just you do you. And I love it. I just felt like mentioning it because I gave it a good soak the other day. Took some days to dry because I dry them flat, and it's so lovely. Like this double held single ply a non-super wash tweed merino by Pickles became this like wonderful beast after that soak. It's so lovely now. I just want to live in this sweater. Anyway, I have been working on the Fern and Feather sweater. Yeah, that's what it's called. I keep saying feather and fern, but Fern and Feather sweater. That sounds nice. That's a rhyme I can remember. So as you will remember, I had the yoke ready. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in the podcast. I finished the yoke. It was very quick. And here we are. This is on provisional thread because I decided to do so because I want to see how all the lower short row shaping makes the neckline, and depending on that add some short rows to the neck or not. I have since finished the sleeves. I haven't actually finished the sleeves, that's a lie. I have knitted about 7 rows too much here, so I need to rip back and then do about, I want to say 6 centimeters of 1x1 rib. Not what the pattern says is what I decided to do. Can't remember what the pattern says. Who reads patterns? And here I'm just about ready to have a go at that rib. I have knitted the entire sleeves on my 16-inch 40 centimeter circular needles. I am using my Knit Pro set. They will come a bit untwisted here. I like the Knit Pro 16-inch tips. They're a bit shorter than the average tips, and I just use them whenever I don't have fixed needles. I was hoping to get some fixed 5mm needles, but the pearlescence people at Edinburgh, they ran out because they're awesome and everybody wants to buy their needles. So yeah, this is how far I've got. I reckon I will just, yeah, all I have left is the rib and the body. A bit quick, no problem, just zoom through it. I think depending on the fit of the sleeves, I will either do it waist fitted or not, so I don't know. But yeah, I have mentioned the yarn I've used earlier, but it doesn't hurt repeating. I am holding Holst Supersoft Double. Holst Supersoft is a very light fingering, but if you can knit to that up to a gauge of, I want to say 24 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. I wouldn't go looser than that. I know some do, but yeah, I'm happy with the 24 kind of mark there. But if you hold it double, you can go even looser. So I'm doing this on an 18 stitch gauge. Holding it double becomes a very nice light worsted, which is pretty much what I need in this pattern. So that's exciting, and it lives in this raccoon bag that I bought at Vogue Knitting Live. One last project I have worked on is my Maya's Mameluke. This is a little bit sad because I had to rip out the progress I showed you last week because someone kindly alerted me to the fact that I was 4 stitches off. I had just added the number of stitches I figured I needed for my size, but you need to make sure that the stitches add up in the way that you distribute the side rib and the front and the back of these bloomers. And that meant I needed to have either an extra 4 or fewer 4 stitches, and I decided to add 4. So this is about as far as I am. I want to say it's about 12 centimeters, I want to say 5 inches, something like that. It needs to be 8 inches or 20 centimeters. Look how good I got with inches. They don't teach you inches really in Norwegian school because we're all metric all around, so I feel pretty good about having like intuitively grasped these things. Anyway, this is what we have so far. I am so tired of this bit. I'm so tired of knitting 2x2 black rib, but I knew what I was getting myself into. So I'm just gonna get through it. I'm gonna bring it out today. I'm gonna meet up with some knitty pals because I may have left Edinburgh, but Edinburgh hasn't left my heart. So yeah. It lives in this bag that my mum sewed me with like this awesome woodland fabric, and I am knitting it in Usk by Hillesvåg, and I love Hillesvåg, so that makes me very happy. I did see a lot of Hillesvåg at Edinburgh Yarn Festival, which got me so excited. See how I segued into Edinburgh now? It's all Edinburgh from now on. And yeah, it made me so happy to see that the pelt wool by Hillesvåg was well represented both by Midwinter Yarns and Ysolda's shop. Yes, I call it a shop. We'll get back to that. It wasn't a booth, it was a shop. And yeah, Hillesvåg is an amazing factory. They truly deserve to be recognized internationally, and their pelt wool is amazing. But they do regular wool as well, which is what I'm using in my Mameluker. They also have started dyeing their lamb's wool. They have had white lamb's wool for a while as a wet yarn to use with the pelt wool, because the pelt wool is grey and dyed on grey. They don't bleach it. So that has already kind of been sold alongside the pelt wool, but now you can get it dyed, and I'm so excited. I think this is going to be one of those like big compromise yarn for those that want rustic yarn but are a bit concerned with the prickly factor. And to that I just want to say lamb's wool, lamb's wool, lamb's wool. There, done. Now, so this whole Edinburgh talk is going to be interspersed with purchases and video clips and photos and whatnot, but I have a bit of a disclaimer, yeah? The first one is that you will see a lot of things that was not related to any vendors or anything to do with Edinburgh Yarn Festival, something that people have either given me, that I bought of people, and I want it to be absolutely clear that this has been happening under circumstances that are totally within the rules and the regulations of Edinburgh Yarn Festival. They have these regulations about like you can't really promote yourself if you're not a vendor. You can't just like walk around and be like, so I'm doing this a completely other thing. You can't be like, I put up this poster here about this thing I haven't paid for, where they have sponsors that actually pay Edinburgh to have these posters up. It's not really fair. So I just want to make it clear that people who have given me stuff, they have followed the rules, so just like I don't want there to be any doubts and questions about that. And yeah, other disclaimer, I was part of the podcaster lounge, so I was given free early entry to the festival. I had a badge, it had my name on it and it said podcaster, and it made me feel very special for like 3 days before I'm back to my old dorky self in my normal life. So I just, yeah, I feel like people need to know that, get in for free, but my opinions are, as ever, always my own, and because I am a terrible liar, so that wouldn't even be, there wouldn't be any point in trying that. So shall we get into this stuff? Yeah, Tuesday I got the train up. I felt a bit queasy, like I just, the whole cold thing was happening. It had reached my brain and I wasn't feeling quite myself, but I managed to get all the way up to Edinburgh and got on the bus to my Airbnb, not too far from the Corn Exchange, dumped my things. Next thing I did, didn't even get to relax, just went straight to this venue called Aqua, which is kind of like a bar, cafe, restaurant, what have you, where I met up with some friends. I think also if you want to see more of that, not that there's much, but Grace of Babel's Travelling Yarn, she vlogged that and put her videos up actively during the whole festival, which I have no idea how she did that, how she could like end these exhausting amazing days with editing and uploading videos, but she did that, so that's something you should definitely check out. In terms of other people that have comprehensively documented Edinburgh Yarn Festival, a lot of these videos are not up yet, but I can imagine that Kamebornia and Fruity Knitting will have some really nice and comprehensive videos on that, because I saw them with their cameras out all the time, so I reckon that will be your best bet. So Babel's Travelling Yarn and Kamebornia and Fruity Knitting, you should check those out. My vlogging was a little bit more sparse, but I really tried my best this time. Did a lot better than I've done previously. So yeah. So now I'm going to do the thing that people do, which is like apologize for the crinkling. You know that thing that people do in podcasts? They go, sorry for the crinkling. Do you know why? Because there's always going to be this little minority of people who are just like, how dare you crinkle in my podcast watching time? And then you apologize for it. And then you have this other little group that are like, how dare you apologize in my podcast watching time? And you just can't please anyone. But these things, they will crinkle, and that's just how it is. Because my friend May, who came all the way from Singapore, brought me some Japanese stitch dictionaries, because you can get them cheaper from there. So I'm buying them first from over there. Yeah. So first thing she gave me was actually a gift. It's this book. It's called Something, and it's made by Madame Keiko. So this is one of those books that you flick through backwards, which I really like. I call it backwards relative to my obviously Western being, and it's like obviously not the default or anything. But I often like pick up books and actually start flicking through them that way. I just like get my left book and like do that. So actually that suits me really well. So I really like this. It's got lots of colour work in it. Yeah, obviously I can't show the inside because that's kind of the point of a book. But yeah, thank you, May. And she got me these other two stitch dictionaries, which I really need to pay her for. Anyway, you may have seen this book. Oh god, the glare from the plastic. I just decided to take the plastic off. They have arrived safely at my home. It's safe. I can take the plastic off. This is a insanely comprehensive Japanese stitch. This is a hard word. If you don't know, I'm not a native English speaker. I feel like I need to point this up rather often. Anyway. It's just full of amazingness. I have seen this book quite a lot, but I've always been like, it's big and it's pricey and I just can't. But now I can, and it's mine, and I look so much forward to using this thing when I want to get inspired. The other book, likewise, I hope I'm holding it in the right way, because you know with these books they're all backwards, but I don't think these are. Is it? No, this is how books are, how I'm used to them being. So yeah, it's just more of this goodiness. So as you will notice, they are in Japanese, but if you didn't know already, Japanese stitch dictionaries are by and large visual, so you don't actually need to know any of that language. It'd be nice if I did, but I actually don't need to understand these books. They're very well explained in terms of how they are visually presented, so I'm not at all worried about not understanding them. So yeah, hadn't even entered the festival area and I'd already gotten 3 pretty hefty books. So I was ready for the next day, and first thing I did was heading out to Be Inspired Fibres, which was the yarn shop that I didn't manage to make it to at last Edinburgh Yarn Festival. And so I met up with my friend May again, and I have to just like mention this bag. I used this bag the entirety of Edinburgh Yarn Festival as my carry-on bag. I usually use a shoulder bag, but this time I just used my Priester bag, which I got Knit with Attitude, who were vending at Edinburgh Yarn Festival and sold out all of their Priester bags. It's just the best. I can just like carry this with, and it's like a little bit smaller than I prefer my bags, because I'm one of those people that need to bring everything I own when I leave the house. But it's really good. It's got that front pocket where I could put all my anti-cold medicine and camera and wallet, and I could put my project bags and water bottle in the main part, and I just had everything I needed. So yeah, I think you would have seen me a lot with this bag over my shoulder, and I'm just really happy to have it. I had no idea I'd be using it this much. I thought that was worth mentioning, like a kind of a review of sorts, I suppose. Anyway, I went to Be Inspired Fibres and I absolutely loved that shop. It really spoke to me. It was nice being recognized as soon as I went through the door, because like I have this little fantasy of moving to Edinburgh, which I'm sure I'll be touching up throughout this episode, which is going to be a long one judging by the time bar, and I haven't really covered most of the stuff I'm going to cover. It's just very good to know that I'm on good terms with the yarn shops in Edinburgh, because I am on very good terms with the yarn shops here in London. You know, I have, you know, the mutual endorsement of both Wild and Woolly, Knit with Attitude and Leaf. So it's good to know that Be Inspired Fibres and Kathy's Knits are like shops that I feel like I'm friends with. Does that sound weird? I don't know. But I really like Be Inspired Fibres. They have Holst yarn, guys. They had lots of like, you know, sort of opal sock yarns, and I think there was some, I'm not going to pretend to have memorized their yarn, but they had some of that North Ronalds yarn, and I've really been drooling after, but I managed to not buy, because I'm not allowed to buy yarn unless I have plans for it, so I didn't do that. But I was really impressed with their selection of yarn. It was a very good variety between the different types of yarns that you may want, you know, the rustic, the hand-dyed, the cheap, and the practical, and yeah, I feel like it just covered a lot of ground, and I was really impressed with the stuff that was there. We'll definitely go back. I ended up actually not buying anything because I knew that I had a festival ahead. I couldn't say the same thing for Kathy's Knits because I have for a long time thought about getting some of that self-striping West Yorkshire spinner yarn. I do already have one with the Christmas colour, but I have been looking into this and I needed a contrast colour, so I got some West Yorkshire spinners. I know I can get that pretty much at any time and anywhere. It just felt like it was the time to do it, and so I just have more sock yarn. I seem to be buying more sock yarn than I knit socks. I had like a bit of a sock fling in January, and that made me convinced that I will be knitting socks all the time, which I am not, and most of my unfinished objects are socks. Decisions I made. But I really like the West Yorkshire spinners sock yarn. It's very strong. I am one of those monsters that break my yarn with my hands, and when I do that with West Yorkshire spinners, it stings, which to me is the true sign of a very strong and sturdy sock yarn that is not going to break when you wear it on your feet. So I had this other really odd purchase from Kathy's Knits at the last day in Edinburgh as well. I decided to buy the old version of the Deco cardigan by Kate Davies. This may seem a very weird thing because I got the newer version last year, and I don't know why I feel like having both because they're really a lot alike. Like, I was told that this is written for a finer yarn, which is true, but it didn't actually affect either stitch gauge or roll gauge. So this is just a older version, and this one I want to say, yeah, it's better. The newer is better. There's nothing you need to miss here. But for me, as someone who's getting into design, it was just something like, I don't know, it resonated with me to see the development between the two. So just practically I don't need this, but I just enjoyed flicking through them, holding them side by side and be like, oh yeah, this is how they do it now. So, I don't know, it just feels like being part of the journey in a way. I don't know, it's odd. I just felt like mentioning that. Oh god, my voice, you guys. I would apologize, but I really can't help it. This is the best I can do. I just have to lower my voice because if I go high pitch, it just sounds really bad. So that's, yeah, no, can't do that. Speaking of terrible voice, I also recorded a bit of a vlog when we ended up at the knit night at Aqua, where I hung out and met lots of awesome people. It was a little bit smaller and less intense than last year's Aqua Knit Night because Edinburgh Festival had their own knit night and their own venue this time. But it was still really nice, and I met a lot of people I really did not expect to meet, and that was super awesome. And in the end, Amy Florence of the Strand Knitting joined me, and we made this little silly vlog, which was like my first proper video for Edinburgh Yarn Festival. It's pretty dreary. Hello, we are dual vlogging. This is like we have the same cameras, if you can believe it.
Same cameras, same bags.
Same bags.
We are essentially the same
person. Represent originality in the knitting podcast world, where we make independent decisions. And I was supposed to introduce this vlog. This is my first vlog video. This is starting very terribly. This is my Edinburgh vlog. I arrived yesterday, but I'm sitting here not quite well, so I haven't actually thought about this whole vlogging thing. That's my excuse this time. Next time there will be a different one. And I've been to Aqua twice. This is the second time. We had lots of people around us, but when Amy arrived, everybody left.
No one likes us.
They were
just empty space.
They were gone before, and it's like toning down a little bit because it's quite late. All I have done is go to Be Inspired Fibres, which was great, and good old Kathy's Knits, which was my Edinburgh favourite. I'm gonna go again, don't worry. And I went to Macrae Brothers, which is also great for Reggie and Rowan and that kind of thing. And now we are just knitting away. And
did you buy stuff?
I have.
You bought stuff without me. Can I switch?
I'm holding the boring one, Amy's holding the fun one, but they will go well together.
They will.
Contrast.
Any plans? Socks?
That's really
vanilla socks. You're a sheep. Colourwork sweaters.
Yeah.
What am I?
So now I've hijacked most of this video. Do you have anything you want to add about your journey?
Do I have anything I want to add? Not really. I just went for dinner and now I'm gate crashing knit night.
We're gate crashing each other's vlogs.
We're gate crashing each other's vlogs. We have no friends. Everyone's left us. But we have each other, even though she's full of germs that I've now caught. So you're welcome if you come back from Edinburgh and wonder why you're sick.
It's like the first time I'm sick this season, so I also have lots of antibodies.
Yeah?
So you'll get better again.
If you say so.
Okay, let's wrap this up because this is just
my arm is really sore now.
I'm very sorry.
Just by holding it up like this.
I'm leaning on my project bag.
Oh, okay. Well, she's a pro and I'm not.
Project. No, that's enough.
See, I look better. The angle on yours is way more flattering than the angle on mine. I was just gonna stare at
it. She looks so snacky. Okay, I'm wrapping it up. So as you can tell, we were a bit overtired, you could say. So eventually did leave Aqua and went to our separate places, and next day was the first day of Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and it was pretty mad, but in a very lovely way. We quickly had breakfast and headed up to the venue, me and Amy, and we got to be in that early entrance, which I know sounds probably really fancy and cool and awesome. We get in at 9 instead of 10, we don't have to queue. Well, actually we do. There's a lot of people that have that early access. There's a very long queue for that as well. But they do let us in early on, and we thought, oh, let's run over to Labby and me, you know, we're early, this will be fine. And then that was already crowded, so we waited with that, and I just shopped elsewhere for like the first hour or two. That was some very quick hours. I usually like to start my kind of browsing time with just browsing and not shopping, but there were some of the vendors there that I knew pretty well, so I thought might as well. I already thought about it, so you know. I believe the first yarn I got, I could be wrong here, but I think the first yarn I got was a Woolmeise. They were on my bucket list, and so I got these two, which I think could be some very interesting colorwork socks. I'm not entirely sure. This is their twin yarn, which is 80% wool and 20% polyamide, you know, nylon. And they are, you could beat people with this stuff. I keep saying that. I shouldn't endorse violence, but you know what I mean. They're really tightly wound, and I love it. I just love it. I mean, it doesn't affect the yarn in any way. It just makes them look really cool. So yeah, one is undyed, that was a little bit cheaper, and the other one is the Admiral in Den Vulcan, and it's, yeah, merino superwash, 150 gram each, 311 meters per 100 grams. So for 150 grams, that says 510 yards. Not sure what the meters are there. Why couldn't they write meters? Good German. Anyway, I want to do some cool colorwork socks with these. Now I already have 2 variegated skeins of Woolmeise Twin, and I might put them into a D-stash, maybe. I bought a lot of yarn, and there is yarn now that I'm looking at. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna knit with you, so I might just do another D-stash very soon. Now my next purchase I truly love. I have been drooling after this yarn since I saw them at Yarndale, and I saw them also at Unravel, and I kept thinking about them, and I knew I had to get it. I did kind of want the DK, and I'm sure I could have just asked them if they could just dye up the DK in this color, but I didn't get around to it, and I really like the 4-ply. It's rather plump, so what I got was the little Grey Sheep Stein wool, or Stein fine wool. I think that's how you say it. It's lovely, truly. I mean, this color is me in a nutshell. Oh, it's falling on the floor. Because I did get 4, because I want to do a garment in this. It's so lovely. It's yeah, fingering weight bordering on sport weight perhaps. They have 330 meters per 100 grams roughly. And yeah, I just want to talk about this yarn. Not only does it feel lovely and look amazing and right up my alley, let me just read the backside of the label. From a small family farm on Surrey, Hampshire borders, our Stein fine wool sheep are the result of years of selective breeding for fine fibre, raised with love, shared by Susie at Christmas before being tucked up in the barn for the finest quality fleece, washed in Yorkshire and spun by John Arbon in Devon, then back to the farm to be hand-dyed by Emma. I'm like, all these people mentioned here were at the booth or nearby. I think that is what's so special about them. It's just like, this is truly a handmade product that's going to become another handmade product, and I just really love that. And it's like British all the way, and I just love this. I'm so happy to have this. It was on my bucket list. I had to. It's so lovely. It's so lovely. I don't know what's Stein wool is, if it's like their own breed, because this is really a remarkable fibre. It feels so good. I mean, I can't even decide if it's like looks like a short staple or long staple. Like, I'm kind of women say long, but there was something about it that looks a little bit short as well. Maybe it's like an odd mix. I don't know. I know very little about this. I would love to learn more about it for sure. It is, yes, a non-superwash. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, no, I need to put it away and get some time to talk about all the yarns. But this was like, I don't know, it sort of touched me a little bit. So I'm just gonna give that a special little mention. And some of you may remember when I was at Vogue Knitting Live, I got the Stephen and Penelope Style Award. Well, I got another one. And I got a sassy photo with it because I was wearing my Vertices Unite shawl, which is my very first West knit. Yeah, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's, yeah, lovely. It's not so out there that I can't do it, because I can be a bit conventional sometimes, I will admit. But I am working on a exploration station somewhere in my pile of whips, and yeah, I will get around to it. I'm thinking of bringing it to the knitting retreat in Rhodes, because I want to do the 1+ brioche, and I know there's a certain someone who's going to be there who knows a thing or two about 1+ brioche, so I might just like, hey, help me. But anyway, I got this, and yeah, I just really like it. It's a clever idea, obviously, because you'd be wearing something that says Stephen and Penelope on, which is like a bit like clever advertisements, but it's also making you feel very proud of your knitwear. So I really like those. And I had to go to Pink Hazel. I have a Pink Hazel bag from about 1.5 years ago or so, a bit less. Pink Hazel was just kind of new and still upcoming. It was at the Pom Pom Christmas party, and what she's done with her brand and her bags, it's grown so much. The bags were already great back then, but now they're like so awesome. This was the second largest size, so there were bags that were even bigger than this one, but I figured this size will do. I can't imagine anything bigger that we're going to need a bigger bag than this, so I got this. And yeah, the fabric may look familiar. It's a fabric that a lot of people seem to be using. Oh yeah, I got it for my personal future project back when I learned how to sew, so I have a bit of it as well, but I couldn't help myself. One Pink Hazel had already done the job for me, so there we are. It's got a bit of a handle, drawstring, all the things, and the Pink Hazel logo. The focusing, there's a lot of my clips in this video is going to have a terrible focus. I can't fix that after the fact, so we're just gonna have to deal. But yeah, there is yarn in here. We will have a look at that shortly. So it didn't take me that long to wander off to the Blacker Yarns booth. Last year it was like half and half Blacker Yarn and the podcast lounge, but instead this time they had moved the podcast lounge to the other side of the room, and so Blacker Yarns were sharing that space with Garthenor, and I bought some Garthenor at Unraveled, so I didn't actually do that this time around. Although Garthenor, however you say that, Garthenor, they are awesome. They really speak to me. It's kind of like that sort of yarn I really love. But I ended up going to Blacker Yarns and got myself some skeins of Samite. This is a treat of a yarn. This is one of those, like, I bought myself something fancy. And it is a 3-ply yarn. It's a wool silk blend. It's 20% silk, 80% pure new wool. That's about as specific as it gets. The colorway is Peacock's Neck, and yeah, it's a woolen spun yarn with silk. I mean, it's just incredible. 460 meters and in each 100-gram skein, so it's rather a light fingering, and if you want to judge by the meters, but I argue that it's a fairly conventional fingering weight. I have plans for it. In case you didn't know, I want to make one of the Blacker Yarns shawl. I believe they have free patterns. They pretty much just do free patterns for their yarns. So, and they had a shawl hung up in their booth, which lovely Katie Green of Blacker Yarns showed me, and I believe I could actually make it a tad bit bigger because only 1.5 skein was used for that shawl, and I do love big shawls, so I think we'll be looking into one big woolen spun wool silk blend shawl in blue for me, which I think is gonna look amazing. I've been told all the time that blue really suits me because, like, blue eyes and blonde and all that stuff, and I keep insisting on red and burgundy, but I mean, it's not like they are opposites. I can only do one, so I'm gonna do a bit of blue. You know, there'll be a bit of blue. I feel like I've been a bit ambiguous about the other plants I had. The Steinfine wool is obviously a sweater quantity, so whatever sweater comes to mind in this fingering to spot weight, that yarn, I mean, I'm not hard to sway. The sock yarn is obviously for socks. I mean, that's kind of how that works. Now I'm gonna chuck in another clip here of me and Amy being absolutely knackered after basically 2 hours of shopping. It was 5 to 11 and we were like, we're done. We're just tired. And it didn't help that I was a bit ill, obviously. I was feeling better than the day before, luckily, but I sounded awful. I sounded awful throughout the entire week. You know, it's kind of funny. And it kind of hurt. But I feel a lot better now, so it's all good. I didn't get myself worse. But yeah, we just sat there. It wasn't anyone in the lounge at the time, but I think someone has to be the first, right? And as soon as we sat down, lots of people joined in the lounge, and it was really fun. I am so glad that we were part of it and had a place to kind of crash and dump our things, and it was just really nice.
Hello, welcome to the very first day of the Edinburgh Yarn Festival. We are in the podcast lounge. It's so crowded. Oh no. We are very early. It literally just opened, so nobody's found their way here really, and we thought that'd be a nice time to look at the damage because it's already happened. It's not even 11, is it? And we've got, this is both me and Amy, and it's pretty horrible. So there you are. And yes, I have been to Little Grey Sheep and Woolmeise and Blacky Yarns and Pink Hazel. Amy's been everywhere.
That's not true. I've been to Laviana May, Little Grey Sheep, Stephen and Penelope, and
an incredible haul.
Yeah. Do you want to say hi to the camera? Yes. This is Louise. You may recognize her from the very famous Knit British. And we got Amelia, Arctic Yarns and Arctic Knitting and all that stuff. And the yarn. The yarn.
I could go on and on about that, but yeah, I ended up with more yarn because lovely Gro of Moods and of Colours was visiting Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and I had a kind of debate about how to tell this story because I know that she doesn't usually do designer yarn collaborations. That's just not her thing, but I managed to find some cheeky ways and slightly networking and a bit of nudging and like stuff. So I am part of 2 designer plans with Gro. One of them I'm not really ready to announce yet. I feel like I need the blessing of a couple of other individuals before I do that. But I'm going to show you all the yarns that will be used. First, I was given all of these amazing, I want to say, 50 grams each, roughly. Yeah, so many colors here. And I'm just going to play around with them and do something Fair Isle inspired. We are probably looking into socks again. I have just gotten the sock design bug lately, and I really feel like I need to get the world into color work socks. That is like my next mission. I've done the mitten thing now. Still doing it, obviously I'm not done. I'll never be done with mittens. But yeah, no, I'm thinking color work socks. And Gro dyes non-superwash Cardigan nylon yarn, and I really want to knit with that, so I got to, and I'm gonna make some amazing Fair Isle inspired socks. Now you'll notice that I say Fair Isle. In case you didn't know, I'll be touching more upon this in a bit. Fair Isle is a particular regional ethnical style of stranded color work that I haven't really done much. I am more of a Nordic Scandinavian type color work knitter, so we use colors a bit more sparingly. We use a bit less, a bit more minimalist in the use of colors, whereas in Fair Isle they just throw in all the colors all the time. If you've seen you know, Marie Wallen designs, you probably know what I mean. But yeah, now I'm gonna go out of that comfort zone. And yes, the last thing I want to mention is that this is spun by John Arbon. I feel like John Arbon is like spinning out all the things right now, and yeah, it's really cool. But aside from that project, that was already a load of yarn, right? No, I also got these 4 lovelies, which is going to be a design that's like all mine, wherever I want to do, however I want to make, just as tools to play with. And it's the same yarn as the non-superwash Cardigan nylon. It feels fabulous. I love Cardigan, in case you didn't know already. 80% Cardigan and 20% nylon to be specific. 4-ply spun at John Arbon. And it was really funny when she was developing these colors, because I really just kind of, the way I asked via a mutual friend of ours was just like, if you have any yarn you could bring out, we gladly buy it from you. And she was like, what your colours do you want? I'm like, I hadn't really thought about it. And then she was like, but you could what colours do you like, what do you not like? I'm like, I like strong colours, like red and sort of Norwegian colours. I don't care for pastels. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get something that isn't what you don't like but is also not what you do like, to get out of your comfort zone. I'm like, and I got this and they're amazing. I don't even know how I want to pair them. Like, this is a good pairing, but I could also do this. I don't know, I'll probably do a bit of each and all of them and stuff, and I think they're really lovely. So thank you so much, Gro. It's just one of those things that make me feel like I'm doing this designing thing. It's actually like a thing that's happening. I'm not playing around anymore. It's not like it was a year ago where I'm like, yeah, I have this mitten pattern, I'm like doing these socks, oh, I'll finish them. So I'm like actually doing this. That's one of those things I'm just left with after this week. Like, I'm a designer now, I'm doing this thing all my days. And so the next thing that someone so kindly brought to me after I'd ordered it from them, this is not going to be shocking to anyone who follows Patricia of Knitography and P4Chan. She's been making these amazing Selby mitten blockers and Selby sock blockers for that matter, and I had to get some. And so I ordered them from hers and she delivered them in person to me. So she makes these, they are made to order, so you basically do an email correspondence with her, you pay with PayPal, and she will make them to your needs. I mean, she has already made sizes and stuff. You just say which one you want and you get a beeswax, a bee butter tin with her logo on it. Yes, that's it. And of course you get the blockers that you want, and I wanted the large women's blockers, and here they are. And these are so local to all the things that, I mean, she does and is, and also to where I'm from, because I'm from not too far away from where Patricia lives right now. She gets the wood from her farm, they make it out in her farm. The whole thing is so handmade and amazing, and this doesn't shock anyone that I had to get these. It just probably shocks some that it took me this long to get around to it, but there we are. I love the sound they make, you know. I love everything about these. I'm a little bit scared of using them, if I'm going to be honest. I might just like hang them up there for decoration because they're really that beautiful. Just going to give you a close-up. They are incredible. You should check out the photos she has on her Instagram, because I only have good things to say about these. They are coming from my home, essentially. You know, they come from my home region in Norway, where Patricia makes these to honor the Selby mitten tradition, which is like totally my game as well. I sometimes feel like that might be something that maybe people from home are a bit unsure about. I was like, is that Skeindeer just like cashing out on that Selby mitten thing? I'm like, that's never been my objective. I don't want to have a designing career built upon just doing the Selby mitten thing, because that's a thing that's existed for longer than I have ever been alive. But I really want to build that bridge between the international knitting world and this really rich mitten tradition. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming at, and I'm so happy to have these. I have already said that. Let's move on. I forgot to say this bee butter is for the mitten blockers because they're made of pure wood, so you have to treat them well. So you'd think I'd be all shopped out at this rate, and maybe I was, and maybe I was, I don't know. And the days are blending together and I don't quite remember where I got at each day, but I do remember beforehand going to the festival. I was thinking, because I saw the Ysolda Instagram story, was like, oh, you can get these big tote bags if you buy, I think, to the value of £60 or over, and I was like, I'm not ever gonna do that. I'm not. I did do that. It was almost under for a bit. It says Woolen Books and has the Ysolda logo on it. It's a really nice big sturdy bag where I can fit nearly everything I bought. Nearly, not everything. I mean, yeah, the reason it got to that price point was because I had to get another Japanese stitch dictionary, because that's apparently my new obsession of choice, and this book is fabulous, and it's certainly going to help me with my new Fair Isle mission. And I said I was going to touch more upon that Fair Isle Nordic distinction. Obviously there are lots of distinctions to be made. This is one I've made several times before, and I think it's really important if you want to honor traditional color work, because one common error that a lot of us do is to say that stranded color work is Fair Isle. All Fair Isle is stranded color work, all stranded color work is Fair Isle. We talk about Fair Isle as if it is the technique. It's not. Fair Isle is this particular ethnic regional style, and they have made this distinction so clear in this book. There is the Fair Isle section here, that's what the headline says. This is probably better of showing you. This is the Fair Isle chapter, and later on we have the Nordic chapter. And I love how this book from all across the world is showing this distinction so clearly. I think that's wonderful because it doesn't wash out what any of these separate but related traditions are, and I just think that's very important because I really want to honor both of them and just show the world how amazing they are. And hopefully now I can tiptoe my ways into Fair Isle a little bit more and do some designs there as well, because I think that would be very exciting. I've said that already, but this is a really good book. Honestly, if you really like Stitch dictionaries, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I'm very vocal fry today. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just how it is today. It's like I could just wait until my voice is better and record, but chances are I won't remember anything from the past week. I am already struggling a little bit to remember all the things, and I know that this video is going to be so long, and yeah, my voice is just going to be knackered anyway, so putting it off is not really going to make a difference. So, well, that's just how it's going to be. And finally, I have succumbed to this kit that I have wanted for quite some time. I haven't really knitted much of Ysolda's patterns as of late. Like, I was sort of hovering over the stuff that she did early on, but she's like more up my alley in terms of designs and styles and stuff now than ever before. So it only makes sense that I'm gonna check out her designs more now, and I really want to do this hat. And I got the kit. I could probably just have used the yarn I already have and just buy the pattern of Ravelry and save lots of money. But sometimes I want life to be easy. This is gonna make my life a little bit easier. So it has Jamieson Smith 2-ply jumper weight yarn in it. I believe I haven't actually checked it, just assumed yes it is. And it's gonna become this really cool yellow grey hat. And this is one of my favorite color schemes. I don't use it that much because I think you have to be really skilled as some to pull it off and balance out all the colors. And yeah, I saw the hat in the booth and I cheekily tried it on because my head is huge, so it was you never know if you're gonna have to modify. I am not gonna have to modify at all. I think it will fit me just fine. So I got that, and because I'm one of those people, I was like, I'm this close to affording that big tote bag now, let's just get more Tuki wool. I love Tuki wool. I was a bit sad that Tuki wool wouldn't be vending on their own this year. Really hope to see them again there next year. But they were well represented by Ysolda, and I think also Midwinter Yarns. They do seem to kind of touch upon a lot of the same stuff, which is awesome. So I got a grey and 2 navy blues of their sock yarn, which is one of my favorite sock yarns that I really want to work more with. And yeah, it is blue. It looks a little bit dark here, but it's true blue. Just, yeah, more of a navy. I'm clearly on a sock designing mission. I am also on a mitten designing mission and jumper designing mission, and I would like to do some shawls once I'm gonna try to modify some ready-made designs first, just to feel like I got the hang of it. I mean, that's how designers are made. In case you didn't know, it's pretty much the origin story behind most designers, is that they find themselves unable to help themselves from modifying other people's designs when they knit them for themselves, and they realize they are just as capable as coming up with designs from scratch. So for me, I just feel like if I'm ever going to design shawls, I need to at least be able to modify pre-existing shawl patterns before I dive into the deep end myself.
Camera's on you.
So I am buying yarn, Rauma Phenol PT2 for the Blaufiel sweater. Ellie's new sweater, Skeindeer's new sweater. I'm going with grey. And more grey.
Yeah.
And some unbleached white. Getting out of my colour comfort zone.
Oh yeah, you don't do grey, do you? No, you don't do grey. This is the Ysolda booth. It is a shop. This is half of it, the other half is in the other half.
It's not even a small shop.
Yeah, there's like more shop in here, if you can see it. It's like books and a seating area. This is not a booth, it's just madness, and it's an amazing kind of madness.
So here's a funny story. I had a dinner date or lunch date with Kristen. Kristen just like told me in the periphery twice, because I forgot twice or 3 times or something, that oh, you're gonna have dinner. It's like me and Kristen Goss and some other people. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool, it'll be nice, I will come. I completely forgot. So while I was supposed to be there, she texted me like, I'm on my way out now, are you coming? I'm like, do I go? Do I stay? I don't have time. If I get on the bus now, I can make it. I'll just be a half hour late. So I did that. And the bus was just stuck in this roundabout on its way to town for half an hour. So I was like an hour late, and people were almost done eating when I got there. But I say people, there were so many of them there. It was like nearly all of the people that had travelled in from sort of New England, Quebec area. I was really amazed to see all those people there. I'd not expected that. People I haven't seen before, people I haven't seen in a long time. It was just really lovely. And they had all these weird things brought with them. I don't even know who brought what. But suddenly this like makeup set was right in front of me, and that was brought by Cecilia. So thank you so much, Cecilia. I had no idea throughout the stay there that it was actually mine. Just full of like, you know, lady stuff. I'm a lady. And I got this tartan bow. Everyone had one, and it felt like everyone had the right colour. Should I just wear this throughout the episode, or do I look completely dorky? So this is kind of the sort of thing that I really like wearing, but I feel like every time I see a photo of myself wearing them, I'm like, oh my god, Ellie, how old are you? I don't know. But I really enjoy this kind of thing. Although obviously in Scotland, it just makes me look like a darn tourist. I have one of my favourite skirts is a tartan skirt, and I obviously packed it to Scotland because it's one of my favourite skirts, and I thought, I'm just gonna look like a really dorky tourist up here. But it is one of my day-to-day skirts, you know. Anyway, I also got this really lovely notebook with a map of the world around it, and a Espace Tricot marker, a highlighter. So thanks to whoever brought all these things. I was so late and flustered when I got into the door. I made quite the entrance, let me tell you that. I was just so caught out of breath because I'd walked the wrong way, and I just like had to speed walk up this hill, and quite the entrance, Ellie. Stay classy. But yes, it was absolutely lovely to see those people there. It's a little vlog. Funny story, I forgot I had a dinner date, and I ran to the bus, and the bus got me through to Edinburgh City, and then it got stuck in a roundabout for about half an hour. But I'm here, and there's like a lot of knitting people. You may know this person. So yeah, I got a very, very quick risotto, so I've filled my belly and I'm showing off the yarn, and yeah, I don't have a voice left. Surprise, surprise. And yeah, I just really enjoyed myself there, and it was good to see all the faces, and I got to show off some of the yarn I had acquired, as you've already seen already. Now, I had made a little bit of an agreement with a certain hand dyer friend that I know that she's been making this hand dyed kit for the next Helen Stewart mystery shawl, and so I thought I want to be part of that. Now, Helen has dropped me some hints that suggest that maybe I won't be super thrilled, but that just means that will be my modifying shawl project. So I'm still very excited about her upcoming mystery shawls, and I now have the kit to do so, because my lovely friend has worked so hard to develop this kit. I have been getting some updates on how it went. I hope she's really happy with the end result, because I certainly think it's lovely, but I know it's been quite the journey to get there, and it's marvelous. I love this like kind of bone color, I don't know what to call it, and of course these other, they scream Christian, don't they? They just, yeah, so that will be fun. I'm drowning in Voolenvine yarns, because I keep going like, oh, you're developing nothing, I want to buy that of you, and I just get, you know, get to buy the yarn. And yeah, I have the Oracle kit already. I have 2 skeins that I'm gonna make some socks out of. I have some remains for the way back when I ordered Outlander yarn, which now means so much more to me, obviously, given I'm obsessed. That's yeah, I kept seeing Outlander references all over Edinburgh now. I'm being pathetic. It's just like, I'm not even going to give you examples because it's going to make me seem like such a dork. But I enjoyed myself, and yeah, I'm drowning in Voolenvine yarn, and let me show you why. So I'm just going to wrap this up quickly, because this is, yeah, her Nuve colorway, her Nuve base. It's a single ply merino with 3 colorways for this shawl. It's a solstice colorway, curious colorway, and Thor, whatever that means. I don't speak English. But yeah, she also had this other skein of yarn which she gave me, which is on her footsie base, which is probably my favorite base of hers because it's an 80-20 superwash blue face Leicester and nylon. And this is the Edinburgh colorway. Look at that. It is Edinburgh. Well, this is the color of Edinburgh in a nutshell. It's like the kind of the color of the buildings and the sky and all the things. This is Edinburgh in a colorway, and I love it. And thank you so much, Kristen. That was so unexpected. I had no idea you were doing this. I'll keep sniffing the yarn. Why did I do that? Anyway, definitely a future sock. I mean, it has to be right. This is great. So thank you. Adding it to my Voolenvine stash. It just needs a separate section now. It's just like all the Voolenvine yarns. Now, after this massive yarn acquisition day that I knew was going to be crazy, and I had a good feeling I wasn't going to be as mad the coming days, and I was right, which is a good thing. I had one last skein I wanted to buy because I've been looking at some self-striping yarns of EasyKnits before, and they only had 4 left, and one of them was the color I had been thinking about. And I know this is going to be a bit shocking because it's really out of my Skeindeer zone, but there you go. It is sparkly and it has that grey yellow combination that I've just talked about. It's essentially going to match my Ysolda hat in a very strange way. It's just really fun. I'm going to have some fun, crazy self-striping socks from EasyKnits. I never bought yarns of theirs, so that's going to be exciting. It's a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stellina. That's a lot of stellina. And yeah, 4-ply fingering weight, self-striping, 400 meters per 100 gram, high twist. I think if I'm gonna go for merino superwash sock, this is definitely the base I would have chosen. And with the addition of stellina, I mean, that's gonna be fun. I don't know if I even have any sparkling yarn. I may have the odd few here and there. I don't really use it that much, so I will be enjoying this for sure. Like the magpie I am, evidently. So we just wrapped up day one. Day one was by far the craziest day in terms of purchases. But I do want to say that the next day was the craziest day in terms of people. Well, I'll get to that. Before that, we had the big Thursday knit night, which you had to have signed up to, booked to. And I had mixed feelings about that. I really had fun, but in the end we actually didn't end up knitting much because whilst you could book for the event, you couldn't actually book tables because they had enough seats for everyone who signed up. But there's no guarantee you were sat together. You just have to be quick and make sure that your group were sat together. And for me that like completely failed because I have like several groups that tried herding together. And yeah, so what we ended up doing was just running around the place and talking to people from that table and just go there. We just didn't sit still anywhere. That was fun, obviously, but yeah, I didn't get any knitting done whatsoever. But they had great food and like cheese and dolma and cured meats, and yeah, I really enjoyed myself and I got to talk to a lot of people. I was a tad bit knackered in terms of my voice and also in terms of I don't know, when I get tired, I've told you before, like the first thing that goes is all my social skills. I just like, you know, some people need to retreat to introvert. I just introvert on the spot and just, yeah, so that's, I think I did alright. But yeah, I also get a bit confused when language comes into play because there's a lot of Scandinavians that have come down to Edinburgh Yarn Festival, and that's when I start struggling a little bit, shall we say, because it's like, okay, on one hand I have to handle all the English, which I can do fairly well at this rate, but then I have to handle Norwegian. I have to juggle Norwegian and English. That's already a bit ooh. And then it's like Swedish and Danish that yeah, that probably made me seem a little bit aloof when really I just had to take my time to think whilst processing 4 different languages in one place, which that's an accomplishment.
I captured you meeting for the first time.